Welcome, everybody, to our very first INNERchamber Connections. INNERchamber Connections for us is one way in which we are trying to embrace what technology can provide in terms of staying connected with you, our audiences, and it gives us an opportunity to discuss in more depth the concerts that we have planned as part of our 2020-21 season. Joining me today is Ben Bolt-Martin, our cellist and musician extraordinaire. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, Andrew. Good to see you.
So I'm not really interviewing you, and you're not really interviewing me. Basically just two guys having a chat about the arts in general in the lead up to 2020-21, our season 11, and maybe we'll do a little bit of a dive into an exploration about what concerts we have planned coming up. But to start, it's been a long time. It's been about 5 months since coronavirus took hold. Just wanted to discuss the arts in general a little bit. It's a difficult time for all artists in the music industry. We're all putting on very, very brave faces, continuing to put on concerts. There's definitely a trickle-down effect when everything is downsized, and everything is downsized, right? I mean, if you look at symphony orchestra, they're going with their core ensembles or smaller groups, and of course, there's not as much work for extra musicians. Oftentimes I participate in those. It's just a really difficult time.
It really is. I mean, it's funny because it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult for everybody, right? I mean, it's been going through the entire population, just in terms of less work, less money for a lot of people. That's why the CERB has been so important to a lot of people. I think the thing that happens with artists is that so much of our personal identity is tied up in our life as artists. When we think of ourselves as artists. Maybe that's the first title we put after our name, Ben Bolt-Martin, musician, and that loss of identity, that sense that is being taken away bit by bit, has been really emotionally and psychologically hard on a lot of artists. And I think that really makes it a difficult time for us, particularly. We can go out and find other work. There's other work to be done, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of people are discovering that that is not something that is necessarily as painful as they thought, but only in the sense that that's a temporary bridge to the next phase. Temporarily, we feel like we can do that, but the sense that our identity as artists is being threatened is something that I think has been weighing heavily on most of us.
I remember there was a Facebook post and a violinist was saying, I feel guilty about not practicing. And I chimed back and I said, just practice for the gig, practice for the gig. But,
Yeah.
just wait. But you can't wait forever, right? The gig might not come for quite some time.
That's right.
So it is a really difficult thing,
Yeah.
It's a practiced art, and we got to keep our skills up. But yeah, I mean, if there's nowhere to play, thankfully there's been a couple of things this summer that you and I have been involved in, and that's been great.
That's been so rejuvenating to get to play with other people again and play with audiences there. I mean, the sense of relief. I mean, I honestly teared up a couple times just feeling like that's happening again. It was just amazing.
Yeah. And in each of those scenarios, one time there was no audience, no live no in-person audience. There was
in person, yeah. That's right, they were live.
Another time there's people allowed around us, and then we're performing on a barge, and we're moving down the river, and every time is so different, and we're all forging new ground. I think it's difficult for all arts organizations, the big ones and small ones, and of course we all have our eyes in Stratford Festival. They are just like the model large arts organization, and it's really hard for them right now. And you and I both had plans to be involved in this season. I guess we're now exiting. But my fingers are crossed that they're going to find a new way. The smaller arts organizations, seemingly we would be able to pivot or a smaller boat to turn. But then again, it's a completely untested financial formula to keep all these things afloat. Live streaming will play a big part of it, and we'll look into that a little bit more later. But it's a big gamble, big roll of the dice, and we're pleased as punch to get started.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, just to be doing stuff is something that is just so integral to all of us. To that sense of, okay, yeah, like you said, practice for the gig. It's fine to play for yourself, but that sense of we got something we want to do, so let's do it, and that's really exciting and motivating for sure.
And a lot of our programs, they get started a year or over a year ahead. We're planning, we're thinking, we're writing grant proposals. We've got all this stuff sketched out. So when we lose 3 concerts of our season 10, it
Hmm.
hurts, right? Like we've
Yeah,
invested
yeah,
time and energy and thought and
yeah.
care and brought in, guest musicians. And
Hmm.
anyway, I just just want to eulogize the final 3 concerts that
That's
didn't
right.
happen,
They
and
didn't. Yeah,
and maybe we'll give life to these, breathe life into these, and in some other way going forward. We will wait and see, but we missed out on home.
we did. Yeah,
Something
yeah.
that,
Home was we were working with Samir Ruba and Jawad to create this sort of I guess a cross-cultural concert, but we were being taught a lot already about the Syrian traditions and where the poetry and music comes from. There was a lot of history. So I mean, so much history that I, as a whatever, third generation Canadian, can't even fathom the thousands of years, hundreds, thousands of years of history of these art forms that were, and so we were learning so much about that, and not only that, but learning sort of where that intersected. Like they were able to teach us music, and the traditions and the rhythms and stuff like that were stuff that we could actually relate to and connect to. So I was really excited about that, because the crossover and the ways, the commonalities, I guess, of our artistic expression were becoming very clear as we got through that process, and we were just to the point where we were going to be able to put that concert together and really explore those commonalities when it all just kind of stopped. So I was really looking forward to that.
I mean, these are beautiful people. They're recent immigrants to Canada. Samir is an instrument maker, an instrument
Oh.
repairer, and he was going to play the oud and the bouzouki. And I mean, we just missed out.
Hmm.
As we're talking about this, I would like to say I'm committed to bringing it back in some way
That's right. That's
because it's
right.
such a beautiful project,
That's
but we
right.
missed out. So, we made some great new friends, and we will remount this in some way going forward.
For
We missed
sure.
out on Widget, which was shadow puppetry meets Baroque music, and we were going to have period instruments and gut strings and all this great, great stuff. And again, we missed out. And this was a partnership with Shadow Puppet Theater in Kitchener-Waterloo, Arlene Thomas's company, and we're hopeful to bring this back in some way. It's such a great family show. The concert titled Two was just you and me,
Just the two of us.
and a piano,
And a piano. Well, yes.
percussion.
Yeah.
But we managed to just go pare it back. No piano, no percussion, just you and me. And we did some of this program. Not sailing, but
Yeah.
going down on a barge down the
Living on a
Madawaska
barge.
River.
That's right.
And thank you to Stratford Summer Music. These guys have had to pivot and be flexible and creative. And why not have your music move with you? And man, people moved. People walked and biked, and and they were on boats. It was it was
Yeah.
totally inventive. At first, I was absolutely kind of semi-petrified at the prospect of this, but then by the end, I'm seeing people having a picnic on Tom Patterson Island. I thought, wow, this is like fantastically fun.
Yes.
And of course, I enjoyed a lot of music that I heard too of other groups, and yeah, it's a great idea. Great idea.
It was very cool. I think that was. I mean, that was just creativity in action. Boy, I'm impressed with that. That was awesome.
All the elements. Oh, what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, now we have to take a minute to acknowledge the passing of John David Stern. So John David Stern, it was 11 years ago, and I met John David Stern, and I think it was at the tail end of a concert that maybe it was 12 years ago that you and I did, Ben. This was with Sandra Mogensen.
That's right.
And we
Yeah.
did a trio concert, and after the concert, John David Stern came up to me. He introduced himself, and I thought, wow, what an amazing guy. And he was very complimentary, and I could just tell this is someone who's spent his life in the arts. I could just tell he just had a certain ease about him when talking about the music and the experience, and he thought that what we were doing was wonderful. But what he did was he pitched to me the idea that we start a concert series of some sort. And, we took that conversation further. He's the guy who actually came up with the name INNERchamber. So, 11 years ago, we started INNERchamber with him as a huge driving force behind this series, and we lost him. This is going back about 3 weeks ago now, and we're all just incredibly sad. So, a funny story, as we were on that barge, and the third day, we did 3 concerts, and we were on that barge, and we were about to set off from the shore, and then it started to rain. We went back to the shore, and we said, "Oh, we're just going to wait a few minutes," and then it was clearly sunny, and we went out, and it started to rain. And then we're like, okay, we're just going to keep going because that's what we do, and we're on a barge. And, and then we got to near the end of our set, and the whole PA system blew up. And we're like, wow, this is pretty nuts. And what's happening? And, I think it was at about that time, that John David Stern was saying goodbye. And we lost him on that day. And, he was a force of nature. He was a force to be reckoned with, a true visionary. And we are going to raise a glass to this incredible gentleman. So, to John David Stern, and, we miss you, and you mean a lot. Still mean a lot to all of us. Cheers.
Big hugs, John David.
Mm-hmm. Now, there will be a celebration of life, an online one for John David Stern. Check our website, www.innerchamber.ca, for details, and we've got the link there. It'll be a Zoom meeting, and it'll be just a great way to remember an incredible human. Mm-hmm. Okay, so segueing to our season, we have to be inventive, right? So to me, it seemed like live streaming was a key, and we already have a great lighting guy in Stephen Degenstein, and a great sound guy in John Hazen, and then we needed to bring in a videographer, and so that is Stratford's own Mike Fisher, who runs Stream Studio. So live stream for us is not a pre-recorded concert and we're doing a video premiere. Live stream for us is a live concert. And I think that's really important. So for us, the plan is that if we're allowed a live audience, well, hey, we will let the word out there, and we will invite a few people to join us in person live, but we can keep with the same start time, and if we're not allowed to have a live audience, then we can just have our live stream. And with chamber music, we feel that we are fairly confident that our events can go ahead. Yeah. The goalposts have been known to change, but anyway, we will proceed in this way. And so live streaming, it'll be a live event. Mike has 8 camera angles to work with. It can be really interesting. Check our website for more details as we announce stuff. But our season is live now online. This is an entirely untested financial model for running a concert series, depending so much on the live stream. So, but it does leave the door open to many other possibilities too. For instance, I was contacted by the Chamber Music Society of Mississauga, and they're like, well, are you guys able to repeat a program here? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And you know what? We are live streaming our concerts, so if your audiences might be interested in taking that in, that's something we can facilitate. And they're like, wow, that's really cool. And so, we're going to go down that path, and who knows, we might make some very new friends to INNERchamber along the way, and hopefully we grow the impact of our music, and beyond the bounds of our 170 people capacity, which is our normal. I just want to give a big shout out to the board members for their steadfastness and their bravery in going into the season and down this path. And they are Nancy Stotts-Jones and Leslie Jost, Arlene Gillard, Allison Kent, Ben Bolt-Martin, and Sue Wegland and Deborah Rack. They are incredible stewards of this music series that means so much to us all. So thank you to our board members. There's lots of unknowns going ahead, but we are going to give it our best shot.
I think it's amazing. I really think it's just amazing that we've got a board full of people who are just so brave to try this stuff with us. Like almost didn't blink. The bunch of them just kind of said, okay, how are we going to do this? We're going to do this. Great, let's do it. And they just were right there with us. And I think that's the key to this whole thing, is that we're really all in this together. And from the board to the performers and everybody, including all the audience members who are who've been asking us about what's happening and just showing us all their love and support. I think that's really the key, that everybody gets on board and just is brave along with us. And it's been so cool to see people do that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. It's a willingness to try.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we ask. So, as part of as part of our concerts, we want to create pre-concert chats. So, our concert will be 7 o'clock, and at 6:30 we'll have a pre-concert chat. This is kind of neat, actually. The first concert is yourself and myself and Emily Hamper on piano, and we're doing piano trio material. And we hope to get the composer Tim Corliss, who lives in BC, right, to join us for one of our pre-concert chats, our INNERchamber Connections series. And likewise with later on in the season, Scott Good, he's a composer, and we can easily get him online and to kind of tease out the process, the composition process, what they were thinking at the time when these pieces were being created. And in Scott's case, it's a brand new piece; it's being created, that wouldn't have been possible, if we couldn't physically be in the same space. But we can do stuff now, and we'll be sharing this, 1 week ahead of our concerts. That's the aim. And then, you can enjoy that and then enjoy the concert. But it'll also run on the night of the concert, too, from 6:30. Food, we're continuing our tradition with food and connecting with our community our restaurant, incredible restaurant partners in this community. I mean, it's just totally awesome. So we're going to have a takeout option is the key for our viewing at home audience. And our first concert, Ben, we're at Revival House, right? And so we're just making the arrangements, and you'll get news about this, but offering the takeout option on our concerts. And if we're allowed that small in-person audience, then we will undertake that for sure.
That's right. And if you can't get to us, let us know. We'll deliver that to you. We'll find a way to get you your food. And we're hoping everybody who can do it can pick up their own, because that's that will make it easier for us. But I mean, if you have trouble getting out to us, we'll find a way to get it to you. We want you to be part of this. Absolutely.
And restaurants are being as inventive as we are. I mean, it's hard for them, and we're happy to kind of go down that path and keep up a tradition that we've established in food and music. So let's unpack the season a little bit, Ben. First concert is called The Search.
The Search. Well, Brahms was we're going to do the first piano trio by Brahms, which he wrote when he was quite young. And I say quite young now that I'm in my 40s, but he was quite young, and he wrote this piece, which was a pretty fine piano trio to begin with. But then he got older, he got toward the end of his life, and he took this thing and he just took it apart so much so that it almost became a new piece entirely. And so his search was really sort of an internal one, an internal struggle trying to find that perfection of a beautiful piece. And I presume that he was sort of searching for for something that he really felt he couldn't put his hands on when he was writing this the first time around. So he was really digging in, really searching for that perfection. And boy, this is an incredible piece. All of us on the show actually mentioned we've all got an iconic version of this piece sort of burned into our heads. Emily was telling me about a vinyl that she had growing up of Fournier and Schering and Rubinstein playing. And for me, there was this. I mean, my sort of go-to at the time. There's this team of musicians from New York, Stern and Yo-Yo Ma and Emmanuel Axe, and that's the one that sort of is burned into my brain. That's how this piece goes. So we've all got this sort of iconic idea of this piece. So this has become an amazing piece of music. The other piece that we're going to do that with is a piece by a really good friend of mine, Tim Corliss. He wrote it when he was actually just finishing grad school, finishing his master's. So he still had his doctorate to do, but that was actually a very apt timing for right now, because he wrote it as a response, an Anglo young man, his response to just this supreme act of violence on September 11th. And so his search was really one for what's my response to this? I mean, we have this this white privilege, this Western sort of history that has been that has privileged us to be in a position where we normally don't have to face that kind of violence. And what is a real sort of emotional response from our standpoint, from our privileged standpoint, to this violence, which has found its way here, and it's such a shock for that bubble of privilege to be burst. So this piece was a real search on Tim's part to try to find an appropriate response to that from the position, certainly that I feel that I'm in as well. So this is a really appropriate response, both for this time of year, which we just passed September 11th, and for all the other ways that our privilege has shown. So that's a real that's sort of the core message and struggle and search in that piece.
Thanks. And you recorded this.
We did, yes. Sorry, the piece is called Western Projections, and we recorded this back in 2008. And the recording was nominated for a Juno. Actually, it was specifically the other piece, one of the other pieces on the thing. But the recording as a whole was nominated for a Juno, and the recording itself worked out really well, and was a very important, formative step in my personal life as a musician, for sure.
I can't wait to talk to Tim and get some more information about this from his perspective. And, I've heard this recording. It's absolutely fantastic, Ben. So I was super excited to, add this to the program and pair it up with the Brahms. I think it's a great matching. We're just going to we're running a little out of time. So I'll run a little quicker through these ones. We've got, our December concert. We've never done a seasonal concert before. And, so we've got it called Together, Safe and Warm, and it's going to be, a little bit of Christmas classics. We've got the incredible Alexis Gordon,
yes,
joining us. Pre-pandemic, we have the Avalon Public School choir led by Mark McIntosh, and that might not be able to happen, but we may be able to work something in. I mean, there are ways, and technology can be on our side for this. We can pre-record these amazing singers. They just, the choral program that he runs at that school is really phenomenal. I'm just so, and we're going to do our best to work them into this program somehow. And we've got a group of musicians. Oh my goodness, who doesn't love the harp? We've got Julia Seeger-Scott as the harp. We throw a harp into a program. It's a winner. We're really looking forward to this. I think we've got Liesl and we've got Derek and it's
Jody. Yep.
Jody.
Yep.
On viola. We all love the viola, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
February's concert, Lost and Found.
Yeah, well, there's so many traditions of using music to meditate and sort of to find ways of healing, and really what we've done here with Dan and Pam and Gerard is got some people who are really familiar with a whole bunch of different styles, whether it's new music or improvisation, of ways of meditating and finding ways of healing through music. And that's really what the February concert is about. It's about finding ways from all sorts of different traditions to heal ourselves through these difficult times.
And it's February, right? We all need healing. We all need healing, rather. We all need soulful music, and that reflection on the spirit. And Pam Durand is such an incredible artist. Daniel Ramjatan on guitar, and we've got on shakuhachi, which is a Japanese flute. We've got Gerard Yoon. Yeah. We're very excited, and that's paired with you and me and Graham Hargrove. A Night in the Salon. This concert, we've got Emily Hamper, myself, and Philip Addis, her husband. And, at the beginning of the 20th century, there were these salon concerts, and you would have the top soloists and singers, and pianists, violinists, instrumentalists, touring musicians, and they would be putting on these salon concerts for very small, intimate chamber audiences. And we just thought, okay, well, let's take it back. Let's reflect on this this music, this kind of early 20th century music. And we've got sort of separated into three sets. We've got the American influence, and for that we've got a bit of Korngold, and we've got some Gershwin, and we've got a French set. So we've got Claude Debussy and Gabriel Fauré, and then we've got a Spanish influenced set with Sarasate and Albanese, and just lots of great stuff. We've got music by Fritz Kreisler in there, who was the foremost violinist, salon performer of his time. It's going to be great stuff. Super, super excited for this kind of music. Little bonbons to sweeten your day. And then we've got All in Good Time is the name of the next concert. This one started off by, I was aware that Graham Hargrove, our percussionist, did this awesome piece by Boccherini, and he did this with Taffa music, and it has 2 cellos in it, and it was a quintet for a string quintet, but then plus it has castanets in the final movement. And if anyone knows Graham, they know his passion is the bones.
The bones.
2 bones or 2 pieces of wood, and he does the most extraordinary things. And in this, he's doing the rhythms that the castanets would do. And then we thought, okay, well, let's get a new composition written for this combination of string quartet and bones. And my friend Scott Good, who I've worked with in London a lot, he is undertaking a new composition. It's still taking shape, it's still taking form, but he knows that it's got to have bones. I'm happy, and it's going to have strings as well, and we're super excited. So we're pairing that with Joseph Haydn's string quartet, Opus 20, number 3, one of my favorite in the entire catalog, and then Piazzolla's Tango Ballet. So tons of flavors and textures on that concert.
Oh gosh!
The final concert is Souvenirs, and we had to get Peter Shackleton involved.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ben. What do we know?
Bernard Herrmann, the Souvenirs de Voyage. Bernard Herrmann, many of you may not know his name, but he was the one who wrote the music for, I think it was all or almost all of Alfred Hitchcock's feature films. And so you'll recognize the depth of the angst and the wide range of emotional colors that he brings to the table. And anyway, so he was basically done with film music. This was sort of the end of his life. Not the end of his life, but the end of his career, and he had given up on film music. So he moved away from the States. He lived in New York, but he composed for Hollywood, that kind of thing. And he moved away from the States and went to Europe and sort of started traveling around. And so these pieces are pictures of his travels through sort of the heart of Europe. So these beautiful, beautiful vistas of sound and gorgeous so much romanticism. Like this is 20th century, but this is really romantic, beautiful, gorgeous music played by the gorgeous, romantic Peter Shackleton. And
he is gorgeous and romantic.
He is gorgeous and romantic. What else do you say about Peter Shackleton? What a guy. Beautiful musician. So we're so glad to be joined for that. And then we're going to play the second of the Razumovsky string quartets by Beethoven, which is just a bear of a piece, and we're really looking forward to digging in on that. So
yeah, to have a quartet to perform with, whom we performed for many years, and just fearless. We just get to take on this new stuff. I think we're fearless. I don't know.
I think we're fearless. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I'm not
doing this.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I'm just so looking forward to digging into this Beethoven, his middle period, and this is just such an amazing work. We've got to wrap it. So thank you, Ben. Our first edition of Connections, Connections. Raise a toast to Connections, and we will see you all this season. Check out our website, and let's do this. I'm super excited, and thanks for joining us today. Okay.
See you.